Today we're gonna make creamy sausage tortellini soup. Here are all the ingredients. Let's get into it right now. So we always like to go over the ingredients here on this channel. It makes it super simple for not just you to make the recipe, for me to instruct you how to make the recipe. So I always recommend that you prep your ingredients. We'll go from my right to my left. We have 1 pound of bulk sausage. This comes from Whole Foods, so there's no fennel in it. But if you buy a sausage that doesn't have the fennel in it and you like fennel, which I do, use 1.5 teaspoons of fennel seeds. It just gives it a nicer flavor. We also have onion, carrot, and celery. It was 1 medium onion diced. It was 2 medium carrots diced and 2 celery ribs diced. That's about a cup, maybe a cup and a half. Secret weapon that we always use on this channel, Parmigiano Reggiano rinds. Just save them if you have a block of Parm. It's free and it will just flavor the soup better. If you don't have it though, totally fine. I'm using 1 full can of tomato paste. When I first did this recipe, I was gonna use plum tomatoes, and if you wanna do that, feel free to do it, but just opening up a standard 6-ounce can is perfect here. It works great. 6 cloves of garlic minced. We have 3 tablespoons of flour. That's gonna thicken it up a little bit. I have 8 cups of chicken stock that I made from reduced sodium, better than bouillon chicken base, which I use all the time. 1 cup of dry white wine. If you can't have alcohol or wine or anything like that, feel free to omit it. 1.5 cups of heavy cream. This is a creamy soup. You know, if you put more in, it'll be creamier. You can also, if you decide you don't want any cream, you can completely omit it. We also have extra virgin olive oil. We're gonna need that. You can use olive oil or extra virgin. We're gonna do for sauteing. I have fresh basil over here, fresh parsley, about 1/2 cup of each is going to be great. And then the star, I guess, of the dish is the tortellini. Buy tortellini from the refrigerator section of whatever store you're at. They're gonna be much better than the little frozen ones. This is a really good brand. It's from Whole Foods. It comes in an 18-ounce pack, so even though the recipe calls for 16 ounces, we're just gonna use the whole pack. This is cheese, it's ricotta and Parmesan. If you wanna use a meat-based one, you can too, but if you're gonna use a meat-based tortellini, you might not need the sausage then, it's too much. I think the contrast of the cheese tortellini and the sausage is great. All right, so let's get into making the soup right now. Okay, I have an 8-quart Dutch oven. Use a regular 8-quart pot if you want, like totally fine. It's gonna need to be about 8 quarts. There's a sausage, the vegetables, the tortellini, everything. It takes up a lot of room. I'm gonna heat this up to medium heat. Then heat it up for a couple minutes, just a couple tablespoons of olive oil. The sausage has a lot of fat in it. This sausage I don't like, comes in a little like bricks. They like super compact it, but do the best you can just to spread it out, and we'll let it brown a little bit. I wanna talk about browning meat and not browning meat. So I get a lot of comments about this saying you didn't brown the meat enough and you left moisture in there. I'm gonna give you guys some advice here. Most of that's wrong. It's just wrong. You can see master chefs in Italy taking sausages and putting them right in the sauce. No browning at all. They'll take meat too, especially when you're making a Sunday sauce, all that. You do not have to do it, and you don't have to kill this sausage or any meat you do, because if you take all the water out of it, and a lot of that's fat too, when you're seeing the liquid go up, you are just going to make it dry, even something like sausage, okay? So just keep that in mind. We'll get a little bit of color on this here, but it is not paramount that you do it. It will not be bad if you don't do it. It will still be great. Trust me. I'm gonna just flatten this out and we'll let it brown a little bit and then we'll break it up. And to break it up, I'm going to use this. This is a meat masher. It's probably my favorite tool and it's like $8 on Amazon. I'm just gonna flip it over. Okay, so it's been a couple minutes. Now we're gonna mash it up with our meat masher. That's pretty good. You can mash this meat up more when you take it out. We're gonna take it out right now, just because I won't be able to get my vegetables soft enough with all this meat in here. And we'll put it back in after. Try to leave most of the fat in there. Okay, if you leave a couple specks of sausage, it's not gonna matter. So you see how it's very brown in the bottom of the pan there? All right, it's not burnt, so it's fine. Put it here. You can also deglaze right away, but I'll put these in here. I'll put a little salt, maybe a little bit of liquid, and that'll evaporate quickly. You can do a little bit of water or just a little bit of your stock, just so you don't burn the bottom of your pot. A little bit less than medium here, and what I'm going to do is add a couple more tablespoons of olive oil. The recipe says 4 tablespoons of olive oil, so it's like 2 and 2, but it doesn't have to be exact. Okay, and we'll do a little pinch of salt also to get some of the liquid out of those veggies. Okay, I'm just taking my wooden spoon, flat edge of my spoon right here, this flat edge, And then I'm just gonna scrape up all of the brown bits on the bottom. So now I basically have cleaned my pot, and now I can let the vegetables soften. Here's that meat. You could just go in here more and just mash it a little bit more. Any spots that didn't, any pieces that are a little too big. You know, it's a little cumbersome, especially I have a portable burner here, and this Dutch oven weighs like 20 pounds. I don't, you know, it has a max weight rating, and if I'm putting all that downward force on there, it's not good. If you're on a regular stove, it doesn't matter. That's good. So we want the pieces of sausage to be small in the soup. This is gonna take about 10 minutes. We want these veggies to get nice and soft, to really start releasing their flavors, to make it nice. One thing I forgot, also, when you put your vegetables in initially, put your fennel seeds in, and you can just kind of mash them up. You can also just take these and just whack them with a mallet. I'm putting them on the side there, and I'm just going to just kind of smush them. So do the best you can, then mix everything back together and let these continue to soften. Okay, so that's been about 10 minutes. You can see how the vegetables are very soft. Make sure they don't burn, so just, you know, control your heat, lower it if you need to, add a splash of water or stock or wine or whatever you like. Here's 6 cloves of that minced garlic. We're gonna add that in now. All right, we'll cook this in here for a couple minutes until it gets fragrant. Tomato paste, 6 ounces of tomato paste, that's 1 can. If you don't wanna use paste, I would say about 14 ounces, maybe a little bit more of plum tomatoes would be good. All right, so we're gonna fry this paste. I'm gonna accentuate the flavor by doing that. Take a little bit of the tinniness flavor out of it. If you start to burn when you're frying your paste, add a little bit of liquid or control your heat. It's that simple. Okay, see that? How it's getting a little black right there, down there? Just put a little bit of liquid in there, just a little bit. Okay, mix that all together. It'll evaporate in a second. It'll lower the temperature of the pot by a little bit. It'll allow you to keep cooking it. That's been a solid 5 minutes, and now we're gonna add our flour in. This is 3 tablespoons. Just get it all in there, it doesn't matter where exactly it goes, and then just mix it all together. Let's just cook this out for a couple minutes, get rid of all the white specks. I have 1 cup of dry white wine. This is Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Grigio, unoaked Chardonnay, anything like that is fine. Okay. Turn the heat up to high. And it'll start boiling fairly quickly depending on the strength of your stove. A lot of brown bits on the bottom, and I'm gonna scrape it. Using a flat spoon is easier than if you had a round spoon. And then just do it for like 30 seconds. It's gonna turn into like sludge here. And I wasn't able to remove quite all of it, but I'll be able to remove the rest when I add my other liquid in. And then this is the 8 cups of chicken base, chicken stock. And it's all stuck at the bottom there, so I will get the rest out. That always happens with chicken base. So again, bring this up to a boil, and then if you have any remaining brown bits, just continue to scrape with your spoon. That's just all flavor bits. It's all gonna go into your soup. It's gonna make it better. And how can you tell if they're all gone? When you have a lot in here now, just feel the bottom. It'll feel nice and smooth. If it feels gritty, then it's not all gone yet. Okay, also add in your sausage and your parm rind. But yeah, there's a lot of cheese on this one at the end, so I'm just grating it all in here. Okay, now I'll put it in. It's boiling now, just lower it a little bit to like medium, maybe a 6. Just keep it like kind of around, you know, a steady bubble. We're gonna let it concentrate for about 10 minutes, extract some of the flavors, out of the Parmesan rind. It's been like 10 minutes going. I'm not putting any salt or pepper or anything in here. Just the only salt we put in was what we did on the vegetables to soften them up in the beginning. Sausage is very flavorful, has a lot of seasoning in it. The cheese, everything else, the tortellini, wait to the end. Not to mention the chicken base that I used. You know, they claim it's reduced sodium. It's still extremely high in sodium. 1.5 cups of heavy cream. All right, we're gonna let this simmer for about 10 minutes. I want it to bubble first and then thicken a tiny bit, but this is not a thick soup.
It's more like a
creamy broth. Nice. So on the bag here, it says 2 minutes. You don't need a lot of time to cook these. The residual heat, even if you dump them in and you turn it off, it'll cook them enough. All right, and I just have my heat about 4 out of 10. So just let these cook. Just taste one. You know, it says on the bag, it's like cook them to 165 internal temperature. That's not how you're gonna check if tortellini are done, all right? Cook them to your liking. You know, some people like them a little softer, some people like it firmer. Just cook it to your liking. It's only gonna take a couple minutes though. Let's get our parsley and basil in. 1/2 cup of basil and 1/2 cup of parsley. If you want to use spinach leaves too, that would be great. Okay, mix that all in here. All right, and there's my consistency, my brothy consistency there, like that. Honestly, it doesn't need any salt. Pepper I'm gonna put in. So we're gonna get the taste tester down right now. Okay, James, the taste tester, you are back. Thank you for being back. You're doing 2 today with me, right?
Yeah.
Give me a fist bump, okay?
It's really good. I really like this because it tastes like tomato soup. And I love tomato soup. So what is it, cheese in it?
Cheese tortellini.
Tastes good.
This is 3 hours later from when I made it, just so you know.
Tastes like tomato soup, like if you just had the broth, but like a little different.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it's different.
yeah, but like has that
tastes
same
like
like
creamy.
has the same like base flavor as tomato soup, like
Like a creamy tomato soup.
yeah, creamy tomato soup. The tortellini is good. I think my favorite thing about it is the broth, though.
Okay, well that's good. I didn't make the tortellini.
You did?
I didn't. Those are not homemade tortellini.
Okay, I'm gonna give this an 8.
An 8. Okay.
Yeah, because the broth is really good. The tortellini is like pretty good. And all the other stuff is also like pretty good.
What could be better?
Basically like a little bit of everything except the broth.
Okay. What do
Because
you
the broth itself is a 10.
Well, what do you mean a little bit of everything?
Like the tortellini could be like a little better. Like maybe instead of putting the sausage on the outside, I'll put the sausage in the tortellini.
Well, that would be meat tortellini, and then you wouldn't need the sausage in the soup.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You just don't put the
Yeah.
sausage in the soup at all. Put it in the tortellini. And then maybe put like some broccoli, like little tiny pieces.
I would put broccoli
Like
in
just like
the trees.
yeah, the tree part.
The trees. Yeah, no, Mama's asking you a lot of questions because she thinks this is a 10. That's why she was asking.
Really?
You. Yeah.
I mean, it could be a
well,
9.
you were eating it off camera.
I think it's really good, but I'm not the official taste tester. I wanted to know more, like what he thinks could be added, and I think broccoli is a great idea, James.
All right, James. You thanks for the pretty good rating.
Do you think Daddy is a pretty good dad?
Am I a decent dad?
He's an okay dad.
All right.
He's okay. Gets the job done.